It's Sunday night and you're watching Let's Kill Twitter with me, Julian Hall. This is the show that aims to detox your timeline with the art of conversation. That is, of course, no easy task, but thankfully I do not ever have to do it alone. Tonight we've got two fantastic guests in the Zoom room with us, the comedians Don Biswas and Stella Graham. And of course, as ever, joining me in the nick of time, it's my co-host, Sajeela Kershi. Hello. How are you?
Hello. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. We're back in the Zoom room. We saw each other live only 2 nights ago, didn't we?
In the real world, at the cottage. Any cottagers tuning in? Hello there. What a great show it was on Friday night.
That's the cottage in Redhill, just to sort of clarify that.
Yeah. And also Julie was doing a little set.
Yeah, that's right.
It went well.
I actually got over my fear of people to try and entertain them, but I have to say, really enjoyed it. And consequently had absolutely no sleep on Friday night thanks to the adrenaline, but there you go. And I've had 6 shots of coffee today, so it's like craziness.
It was a lovely show though. It was everyone smashed it and you did well, so it was great. Thanks for everyone for coming. But yeah, what show we got tonight?
Well,
though?
before everything, I need to do the admin. I'm literally just doing that now with Facebook because we are now hopefully streaming live across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Please do give us a subscribe on YouTube because that's where all our shows and clips will be. And also, the crucial thing is to follow us on Twitter at LKTZoom, because that's obviously where we'll take comments and questions through the show, and we'll just do the engagement straight through there and nowhere else. And then the rest of the time we're posting clips and news of the next show, and also just generally posting as interesting a collection of tweets as possible. So that is the admin. And now we would want to just introduce our guests with some lovely words from myself and Sajeela. So I'm going to introduce Don, Sajeela, and if you can introduce Stella. And here's some words I prepared earlier via Don's website. Yes! So Don is a seemingly straightforward and old-fashioned gag merchant. However, he talks about a wide variety of unique subjects, from having dyspraxia, ADHD, and mild Asperger's syndrome. And also thrown into the mix is politics, interwoven with conspiracy theories for that extra punch. His comedy has led him to be part of the group Abnormally Funny People, which is a specialist comedy show for comedians who talk about their disabilities. And Don's also done a school tour support slot for comedian John Williams' show, My Son's Not Rain Man. Don's debut Edinburgh show in 2017 was called Left Wing Conspiracy Theorist with Dyspraxia. It really does what it says on the tin. And he's also done stand-up on Radio 4 for the 13 Million Club. And this year has a 30-minute stand-up special coming out on the station as well. So very exciting year for Don.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate that.
No worries. So Sajeela, if you could just introduce Stella and I'll get them into the Zoom room.
Welcome, Don. And next, our guest is no stranger to me. We've been seeing each other at the Edinburgh Fringe and all the fringes. She's a naturally funny stand-up comedian, writer and actor, shameless, charmingly aggressive and unladylike. She's the funniest half Sri Lankan girl from Coventry, and I can vouch for that. And Stella's entertained audiences all around the world, from Comedy Store in LA to New Zealand Comedy Festival and Adelaide Fringe. You've got to catch her funny series of angry workouts and her video podcast, Tell Me About It. See what she did there? Tell Me About It on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all good podcast platforms, as is Let's Kill Twitter. Stella has taken several shows to the Edinburgh Fringe, Brighton Fringe, Leicester Comedy Festival, and she's performed at the Adelaide Fringe, as I said. She's worked on screen for New Zealand's Juice TV and is a radio presenter in England and New Zealand. She's written comedy for Newsjack, BBC Radio 4 Extra, and New Zealand TV3 panel show 7 Days, which is a bit like our Mock the Week, I think. Stella's also a trained actor and improviser with voiceover experience. My God, she's managed to squeeze out all that in, and she's come and taken time out to come and see us and join us on this show today. Hello, Stella.
So
Hello. I mean, where were the swimming badges in there? That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's a lot you guys accomplished. We talked about this before in the show about like biogs, how awkward it is to write your own biog and then to kind of sit there and listen to it. I mean, because you don't normally have someone listening to, you don't normally have to listen to your own biog.
Yeah.
But it's a necessary piece of the business, isn't it?
Oh, I think the worst is when you're about to go on stage and someone starts reeling it all off. And I know that's common in the States for them to say they've been on this, they've done that, and la la. But I think maybe it's a British thing, but it's just uncomfortable.
We're a bit more
Can
reserved, aren't we?
Can I wholeheartedly agree that? Because on Friday night, Sajeela introduced me by saying, "Ladies, get your knickers out your handbags," or it's like, well, no, keep them in. Very much keep them in.
Well, with me, I've got no jokes, so when I'm on stage, I just read out my bio, and that takes up 19 minutes.
Nice.
And then they call the light, the compare, and then I'm finished. So
job done.
nice and easy.
Job's a good.
Job done, yeah.
Very good.
Has a comedian ever had a knickers thrown at them? I wonder. You know, I mean, has that ever? Is anyone that good on the circuit that warrants us throwing items of clothing at them?
I
mean, I'd like to think one of those shows where people get naked at the end. Maybe someone really conservative.
Just like
put them on.
Get them dressed. So it would be like knickers, socks, everything. You know.
Yeah.
And that clearly that only works one way. That's like just kind of male acts. I mean, that's not going to happen to female acts, is it? Really.
I'm waiting, Julian. I am waiting for someone to chuck me a pair of Y-fronts, and then I'll have made it.
Oh no.
Yeah, Y-fronts, boxers, or oh, we definitely don't want speedos. They'd be
a jock strap. I want a jock strap.
Jock strap.
Wow, you heard.
See, jock strap. That's an easy thing to remove. It's like women removing their bras.
Exactly.
You're taking requests
Have you
now.
guys worn bra jock straps? You too?
If anyone's watching this, they'll come to your gigs now, and they'll do exactly that.
So
I'll keep you posted. I'll tweet it.
For anyone obviously just joining us, it's important to stress that this is not a podcast about underpanty things, to quote Ross. But nonetheless, nice detail there. Listen, guys, let's get into your lives online before we get into your fabulous and challenging selection of tweets this evening. How would you characterise your Twitter usage, Don? Let me go to you.
For me, because with my bio, I'm essentially a gag merchant, a one-liner merchant, so I just do gags. But because I talk a lot about politics, I should really tweet more about political issues, but I just want to find a punchline to something, so that's where I test all my new material out. And
do you find that useful? I mean, is the feedback helpful?
I find Facebook more useful because it's easier. I get more likes and stuff like that. Whereas on Twitter, I get a few now and then, but I find it a harder platform to deal with. But then again, I don't tweet regularly enough. Only about maximum once or every other day, so I need to tweet more.
Yeah, well, we're here to encourage you to do that. That's part of it.
Well, we do have people like with all sorts of different relationships with Twitter.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Well, Taryn,
because that's kind of going to be like somebody who might just casually have come across the show.
Yes.
Will think, oh, I've never really tweeted, but I wonder, oh, but that person doesn't tweet, and you know, it is a complex relationship that people do have with Twitter. So moving on to Stella asking the same question.
Can I just say one thing? For me, it's not a complex relationship. I'm just lazy.
Well,
just lazy, with no work ethic.
You definitely got a work ethic, but probably I can understand why you couldn't be bothered with Twitter. I mean, I do a show about Twitter. I'm hardly ever there.
I don't tweet too often, actually. I'll retweet stuff and I'll promote shows and stuff, but I am a fairly lousy tweeter. I probably read more than I tweet myself. I think it's because, you know, I'm going to get cancelled at some point, Sajeela. It's going to happen. I'm like, well, if they're going to cancel me for retweeting, promoting shows that I'm on, then yeah, let's have it. Let's bring it. But no, I don't tend to tweet as often as I could. Maybe I'm like Don. I'm just like, you know what? I don't have a good excuse. We're just lazy.
I'm just worried what shows you're doing.
Yeah, but also you just mentioned cancelling. Like you think you're going to be cancelled. Do either of you actually? It's like every comic will have to mention that, including myself. You know, but do you actually think there is a fear of us being cancelled? Just like who's going to? You know, I mean, obviously with the Jimmy Carr thing a few weeks ago we were talking about, but do you believe that is a real possibility that you could? And what reason? Why would you be cancelled?
I mean, there's no breathalyzer on my phone, Sajeela, anything could happen late at night. And then in 10, 12 years' time, I mean, the last 10 years have flown by.
Yeah.
I think
Well, in 2022, Stella said this, and it's going to be 2035. Realistically, no, I don't think anyone's going to be that interested to go sifting through through old tweets of mine. That's why I'm trying to just blast it full of shows and things and retweets that they'll get bored when they finally get to anything that I say that's a bit off colour in 12 years' time.
it's most likely that you'll get cancelled for encouraging people to throw unsanitary items of underwear at you, I would have thought. So, health and safety.
How can anyone be upset if they're thrown at me?
Well, no, it's just it's germs in the venue, isn't it? That's probably what it'll be. Be stage
It'll
man.
land on somebody on the front row. That'll be why.
Occupational hazard. Yeah, totally.
We've done. She encouraged it.
It is very much like this show is literally dragging people kicking and screaming through Twitter. So Taran Mohanbhai, who we had on last week or the week before actually, he really doesn't do Twitter, he does Insta. But he did find like 5 great tweets for us. But he said, I had such a hard week trawling through Twitter to get those tweets. So it's like we're trying your phobias. We're getting you through the phobia. That's what we're doing.
Well, what I would say to Taran is, and I know Taran Mahumbai, I know him very well, met him out in New Zealand, great guy. If he thinks he had a tricky week finding tweets, well...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did have to discount one of yours for being too old, didn't we?
Well, not even just that.
Who remembers Storm Eunice?
Hey, that I had a personal reason for choosing that. I was on a plane on the day Storm Eunice kicked off.
Oh my God! So you were a star of Big Jet TV.
I hope so.
So you now have to put that on your CV as seen on Big Jet TV.
Best TV credit I've got. No, it was more the takeoff. That was a fairly hairy takeoff. So
wow.
Yeah, that's why Storm Eunice was in my head.
Okay, all right. Well, that's totally allowable then. Right, let's kick off into the tweets. Now we've got a lot here. I'm not quite sure where to start really.
I quite like the first one at the top, quite a juicy one.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Like, who chose this one?
It's you, isn't it, Don? This one.
Yeah, the LaurenceFox one.
Do you want to read it and let us know why you picked it?
Of all the mutton-headed pig shit in a cement factory, thick, dim-witted effing takes, the one that thinks the Russian invasion of Ukraine is a wake-up call to woke-ism takers. Harrowing effing biscuit game.
So that's from Otto English. Yeah.
It's about LaurenceFox, everyone's favourite person at the moment. Yeah, I just think I can understand there's woke culture and people can complain about it, but these are two completely separate issues at the moment: woke culture and what's going on in Ukraine. And the weird thing is, I saw someone's TikTok, and this is really true. Is that a lot of people think a lot of people who are woke are quite weak-minded individual people, yeah, and they wouldn't be able to last in the war or stuff like that. And someone pointed out to any of those who are anti-woke, it doesn't matter. Here's your chance now. You can go and fight for Ukraine now. Here's your chance now. Apparently Liz Truss wants to get British people to sign up and fight in the war. So here's your chance now. Just prove you're a man.
So, I mean, obviously, Otto English's tweet is referencing something that LaurenceFox has said. And he said that this tragedy, referring to the war, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
This tragedy should be a wake-up call to the West. The weak, wet, woke, penance kneeling, diversity, equity, inclusion obsessing, critical race theory loving, pronoun pronouncing, net zero fanatics who promote victimhood as bravery. This emboldens your adversaries. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, LaurenceFox, what the you make no sense. And sorry, disclaimer here, but I was on a show with him a week ago where he just swore, and I couldn't see it was on a screen, so I couldn't comment on it but I just saw him shouting non-stop, and then at the end of it lit a cigarette up for the first time anyone's ever done that on live on air. And I just thought, I don't know what you said, but I don't care because you're just so angry and shouty.
Exactly. I mean, we have to take war seriously, because I know this is a comedy show, but I want to say how badly the Nazis treated my grandparents during the Second World War. They used the wrong pronouns. So that's offensive. That was. So.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just find it quite difficult to sort of. LaurenceFox has become so sort of. Has been become a sort of bit of a caricature of himself. So it's quite hard to sort of engage. It was difficult enough at first, but it's becoming more difficult. I mean, I think if you were to sort of, what I would say is that I'm sure that Putin has a view of the West that is, you know, the West is very weak and it's this and it's that. I mean, you know, there are other things that will have made the West weak in his eyes, whether it's, Afghanistan or whether, you know, there are other issues that he will see that he is taking advantage of. But I'm sure he has a very, I'm sure he does laugh at the wokeness, not necessarily of the UK individually, but of what he considers the wokeness of the West.
The West, yeah, exactly. But I do think that we are weak. I think, weakened by the pandemic. You know, financially, we're not in a great place. I mean, to get involved in what's happening. I don't know about what you think about that, Don. I know, war. I know that you're anti-war like me, probably, but.
No, I'm definitely anti-war.
Yeah, but where do you sit? I mean, this is something we do not want to get into, but we're going to get sucked into this. Do you think?
Yeah, well, I was thinking that if we go to war, the only reason we should be fighting a war if our politicians fight in a war and their children fight in a war. That's the only time I'd fight in a war, which is quite good for Britain because we'll probably win, because Boris Johnson has a lot of illegitimate children, so you can raise a small army. So yeah, but that's the thing. I need to read up what Jeremy Corbyn. I'm a massive Jeremy Corbyn fan. What he said on it and stuff like that. But yeah. War should be the last option. We should get the UN, NATO, whoever involved. It should be the last option possible.
I will say that
even Gaza with his chicken and his fishing rod.
Well, I will say that Jeremy Corbyn has actually tweeted against what Russia has done. So that's a relief.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, that's a relief because you never know.
His brother.
You never know. Now we've widened this out onto solving the Ukraine's problem, which might be a little bit tricky, or solving the problem. Although actually this is quite an interesting one because in terms of those people fighting the war as it is, of course there are an incredible sort of collection of people who've taken up arms in the Ukraine. There are people actually travelling back into the Ukraine who live outside of the Ukraine to take up arms. And then as we're talking, I think that Kiev is under heavier attack tonight. So I mean the whole thing is just tragic, and I think we will come to there are some other sort of tweets around this. We're talking about RomanAbramovich a bit later, but Stella, I mean I suppose sticking really to the theme of the woke West, what's your fourpenneth worth here?
I'm still reading the message because there's so many things in here. So is this equating wokeness with that's why Russia invaded because they think Ukraine is woke? I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure they want land. It's just a thought. I don't think it's an attack on wokeness as such. So I can't really make sense of how these things have been connected. But there was one thing I saw that I thought was really cool when they were talking about just regular people who are taking up arms. There was a line somewhere, someone said people are swapping their keyboards for guns. I just thought that was a lovely image of I'm done tweeting now, let me go and get an AK-47. Get down at the front line and get involved. I thought that was awesome.
Well, I mean,
that is so great. But this is the thing, it's like this wokeness, whatever this wokeness is now, it's when did it become a purely lefty thing? Like can a right-wing person become woke? Is this woke thing only for the left?
I think
discuss?
So.
Well,
I think it's because more right people are old and old people are sleepy. Therefore, the left are more woke. That's my level of understanding of the situation.
If you talk about cancel culture, that's different because in terms of the left and right, they both have a kind of there is an instinct for both. But I mean wokeness in terms of its roots, values, or what it's interested in terms of race were always issues that were more likely to be campaigned on by the left. But someone's individual wokeness or their knee-jerk reaction to being offended or whatever, that isn't necessarily bound, is it, across those lines? And also, the idea that, I mean, the left and the right are not homogenous beasts, are they?
They're not. But it's like, repeatedly that's what's been happening. It's like the idea that a left person on the left cannot be racist is untrue. A person on the right, definitely. Can also be woke, can also be all these things. I mean, it's like we've become so divisive that even the tribal things don't actually have, who's making these rules? It's like whatever you.
Well, there's no rules.
I can't be left enough because I make decisions in my life. I can't be left enough, and if it's just mental. You're not Asian enough. You're not British enough. You must get this, guy. It's like
it's just divide and conquer, isn't it?
You're not woman enough.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think woke is one of those words that's been tossed around like snowflake.
Yeah,
as well. They became popular in the last, I don't know, 5 or so years. And it's just a shorthand now for everything.
Totally.
Anything that's a bit new, woke. It's just
yeah, that's true.
A dismissive thing. But I don't think I've come across a woke right-wing person yet. I don't think that's.
I've got a friend of mine who's really woke.
Is he right?
He's got insomnia.
Punctuating.
What about a woke snowflake? Is this a thing?
Yeah.
Can you be woke and a snowflake? You can be a woke and a snowflake at the same time.
I think they go hand in hand to the right, but
I think they're both around sensitivity, is my understanding.
But the right can be sensitive too.
True.
And the middle can be sensitive. We're all quite precious.
Exactly, we're all 100%.
I think it more gets used by the right to bash the left, is what I mean.
Yeah, it is.
I think
woke bashing, isn't there?
Now, just before we go on to the next tweet, and I'll try and clear my screen, but you can't see that, that's fine. I just want to say something about the Fox families. I mean, I have no relationship to anyone who's involved in this programme, but I don't know what relation Jack Fox is, but there is a new comedy show, or newish comedy show called Cheaters, which is 18 episodes of 10 minutes or something. And I have to say, I think it's one of the best comedies I've seen on telly for a long time. So I did want to give that a little bit of a plug, because it's not often I watch TV comedy and want to consume the next episode. And I think it's been a bit of a genius brainwave here. And Jack Fox is great in it anyway. So anyway, that is the plug.
Wait, what's the level of wokeness in Cheaters?
It's pretty bearable, actually. I've got to say. I think I think they've stuck to the gags and the situations rather than any messages. So there you go. And I'm 15 out of 18 in. So.
Wow, you really are getting through it.
Well, 10-minute episodes and all that.
Oh, can we do this one?
Which one?
This
Sweaty Betty. So this is.
Let's go completely different.
It's completely different. And now for something completely different, Stella.
Oh no, I thought Don picked this one. I thought Don had a real problem with sports bras.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, I mean, I like Sweaty Betty gear much as anybody, but I thought Jen offered here pretty much nailed it. It doesn't matter who you are. Look at it. That's not a bloody sports bra.
Right, let's read out Jen's tweet as well. Sorry.
Okay, serious question, Sweaty Betty. I love your overpriced gym wear. I really do. But how, by anyone's metric, are you calling this a sports bra?
And then, of course, there's a photo of a lady wearing.
Yeah, who's doing quite the workout in that outfit and putting it to the test.
Well, that's like a midriff towel. I mean, it's not like it's revealing particularly. It's
not even got the kind of the support of a boob tube, the oldie boob tubes. It's
the oldie medieval boob tubes.
It's like it's if you look closely, it is literally just a couple of star jumps and a grapevine, and that's
you getting kicked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Sporty Spice.
What made you angry, or what? I mean, what's is it just that it tickled your fancy, or?
It did tickle. To be honest, I thought there's a lot about Ukraine and Russia in Twitter this week, so let me go with something a bit more light-hearted for this show. But it just tickled me. I looked at it and thought, yeah, that is ridiculous. And if there's anyone who doesn't need a sports bra, fellas are like, look at it, come on, surely you can relate to just a ridiculous item of clothing.
I mean, it's quite...
It's being put out there.
It's not offering you any support at all. So
No.
there's obviously, I mean, is it actually called a sport bra? Yes, is it called a sport bra on this? Yes, it is a sports
Is
bra.
it? Yeah, it is.
Which is actually a lie, a blatant lie.
It does look like the kind of thing that Shakespearian female actress would have worn to play the boy parts, doesn't it? A bit.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, bringing it back to the jockstrap, you know, if someone suggested using a folded napkin to keep everything together for you guys, then it's the same kind of thing.
Would you accept this item of clothing to be thrown at you at a gig, though, Stella?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd love it.
I wonder how much they are. Go on.
Yeah, because you could probably use it as a snood, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Or
it'd be
a little-
wasted
just
on
keep
me.
it around your neck. Yeah, put it around your neck, keep your neck warm. Or like put it
Yeah.
over your head.
It's
Yeah,
pretty.
Or a
now.
mask. Even a mask if you still want to wear a mask.
I definitely still want to wear a mask. I would love
Yeah.
that.
It's pretty tasteful. I mean, in a way, it's selling itself. It's selling itself, really. Right, where should we go next?
Let's go round and round we go. Where should stop and nobody
Well,
knows.
I might be quite democratic about. Yeah, let's do this one because there's sort of two issues in one here. On your tweet.
Yeah, I'll read this one out. On Saturday, 80,000 NHS staff protested in London against the possibility of being sacked due to not having the jab. Now, I went to said event. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. It was just the quickest way I could see my local GP.
Yeah, lovely gang.
Very nice.
And so true.
Very nice.
Oh dear. But obviously there's a serious point in here. Now, where are we with... have the government sort of pretty much sort of given up on mandatory vaccinations for NHS staff?
They have for the NHS. They've overturned it, to my knowledge, so which is great, and hopefully other countries can follow suit. Because I'm like, for me, it's about freedom of choice. Especially COVID is. Don't get me wrong, it's serious, but at the moment it seems we've got the worst over it, and I think it should be freedom of choice. And there's a less than 1% chance of getting seriously ill or dying from it. So. And at the height of the thing, people were the most vulnerable, and we're still getting treated by unvaccinated staff. So that's my viewpoint.
So this is the thing, because obviously I'm pro-choice, and you know, and the vaccine, it is a choice. You know, everyone should have bodily autonomy, but it's so complicated because, as someone who has been health vulnerable, I don't want to be treated by someone who's not been vaccinated. But I also I would like that information up front to then make a decision that I don't want to be. So it gets really kind of complicated because it's a lot of things going on. I still think you cannot legislate against wearing masks or, you know, having the jab. But the anti-vaxxer movement, I don't get it either. I still support their right to have a choice, but it's a complicated thing. Is it more clear cut for you, Stella?
See, I'm down with let people do what they want. I'm pro vax. I like it. I'll have them all. But I think if you are unvaccinated, I would feel in your position, Sajeela, a lot more comfortable if they would wear like 25 masks when they treat you. I think we find a happy medium somewhere, you know.
But the way I see it is that they had a lockdown in Malta, and which is one of the most fully vaccinated countries. I know Malta, because their people are vaccinated, have got COVID less seriously, but they still locked down the country. So you're still going to get it either way. So I just think it should be freedom of choice,
but the lockdowns and the
risk,
the lockdowns and
risk isn't too bad. So,
but the lockdowns and the vaccine is sort of, you know, is different. I mean, it's tricky because, you know, there aren't many people that would want to enforce a mandatory vaccine. Now, there'd obviously be a case in this particular point. This issue has slid past us in the sense that the time for the mandatory vaccines for NHS workers seems to have sort of gone to some extent, and obviously you want to be reassured that somebody's tested that day and they're wearing obviously the PPE. That is something, but you know, the risk would have been an awful lot of staff potentially being sacked and all the rest of it. They kind of sidestepped that because of Omicron. I mean, if we were dealing with Delta again or another variant comes along, this issue might well come back.
I think you might be right, because Omicron wasn't, to my knowledge, from what I read in the media, wasn't too bad. But I think the issue now is looking at other countries. Like, they've got a trucker strike in Canada because they're refusing to be unvaxxed, some of the truckers. And for me, I don't like to call these people anti-vaxxers. They're just anti-COVID vaxxers. Some of them are probably, but most of them had the other jabs. But yeah, I think I'm glad that they won this and they're not going to get sacked, and hopefully other countries can look at that.
Well, Canada's an interesting case because on the one hand you're thinking, okay, these truckers are making a point. There was parts of it where I thought, yeah, well, that's quite cool, heroic. Other parts where I think, oh God, you are really disrupting the country. And then the government completely lost me when they started shutting down like checking into their bank accounts and shutting their bank accounts down. And that is when it becomes really creepy, and you are curbing people's liberties. And that's what we don't want. But I also don't want to really hear on hindsight kind of, government shouldn't have shut us down, that what they did was terrible. Yes, they probably did. It was terrible. Everybody was doing things globally at that time. If anything, actually, I remember people saying that we didn't go into lockdown quick enough. And I kind of don't have, other than like governments not actually adhering to the rules that they made, I don't really want to go back there. I just think we've moved on and we just need to move forward. And blaming people for a pandemic is pointless. It was a world pandemic. It wasn't just here in the UK. But it's a great tweet because it does, as you said, Julian, it does cover a couple of things.
Yeah, we haven't talked about I mean, we could talk about doctors and appointments, and that is still very much a live issue, really.
Yeah. So hard to get one these days, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I just love the thought of Don turning up to the picket line and just yelling out his symptoms across. It really itches. What do you think it is?
This is not really true for me because I'm Indian, so there's a doctor in my family. So it's quite easy for me to.
Yeah, but let's face it, being Asian, everybody's a doctor. The doctor in the family can tell you what's wrong with you, but it's what does he know? He doesn't know anything. I tell you what it is.
Yeah.
That's
get
my
like 7
family.
different opinions from 2 doctors.
Exactly. Yeah.
What a second opinion? Wow, that's so rare. It's like gold dust. What I saw the bear. Yeah, it's got to be bears. It's got to be bears.
Yeah.
So
who's the bear?
It's
this was one that I saw.
Oh yeah.
So it's from.
It's the last name of the person who tweeted it tickled me on the subject.
What, Casey Hunt?
Casey Hunt. Well, we're talking about rogue bear that someone's trying to catch. So, Hank is gentle and sweet. When he breaks into a home, he is far more interested in the food than any people. He just sits there and eats, she said. He doesn't attack them. He doesn't growl. He doesn't make rude faces.
Oh.
Now, that bit killed me. I just thought, what of all the problems you might have of finding a bear in your house, if you're like, and he gave me a dirty look. I mean, like, is that he doesn't make rude faces? Is that a thing with bears?
You ask Goldilocks what she thought about that. I bet the bears were giving her dirty looks.
She's not. I don't think she's on Twitter, unfortunately. But is it?
I think what happened here was that this is, I think, probably in Canada, and the reason why
California.
One because it was in California.
Yeah, Hank because the bottom bit is Hank the Tank, a 500-pound bear, ransacks a California community. Woo.
I mean, if the bear was from Canada, he's come a long way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's one of those asylum bears, hasn't he? Because he has to have the jab in Canada. So
look at the size of him,
taking
though.
all their food, taking their jobs. Yeah. He's a big old thing, though, isn't he? Look at the photo. I mean, he's a big.
He's a big bear.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, you could get. I mean, pandas apparently can eat for like 12-hour stretches, so I'm assuming that might cover a lot of other bears. I mean, you won't want to have just done a shop if this guy comes in, would you? So.
That's true. That's true. Sits there and plows his way through it all.
God.
Julian, what do you say about pandas?
Apparently, they can eat for like 12 hours in total every day.
Me too.
And they don't eat for the rest of the 12 hours.
Well, they're probably sleeping it off, I think, for the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like pandas invented intermittent fasting.
They
don't eat
writing
for
the
12
jokes
hours.
as he goes.
That's why the population of pandas is dropping. They haven't got time to get it on. They're too busy face filling with all the bamboo.
when you've been eating for 12 hours, I mean, when you've had a heavy meal, you don't feel like really rolling
Nah.
around much. Do you?
You got to get it in first before the bloat hits.
It's a lot of bamboo, though, isn't it? Goodness me.
Yeah.
Right now, where I'm doing this in a very democratic way, aren't I? I'm going.
Yeah, I think it's nice to be rolling up and down, and we just catches our eye and we say, yeah, there.
Well, we've done Don's in quite.
Julian likes it all official. I like it a bit more.
No, I don't mind.
What's this?
This is a bit of a sort of. It's the front. It's the Times. Is it the Times from that? The Times Market Watch. How will Russia's invasion affect UK house prices? And this is a tweet from James Dolman, I'll just quickly read it. Who's semi-detached, 3 bedrooms, Hampshire, some nuclear bomb damage. The gallows.
This is one I chose, and I think this is the most British response ever.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. It is a fruit machine of tweets.
It's the most British response ever. Yeah.
How is it going to affect my house price? Daily Mail readers.
Yeah, no, totally. It's
It does feel like quite the shoehorn, doesn't it? It's like, right, what's going on in the news today? Right, how can we bend it towards our agenda? How's Russia going to affect your house?
But actually, I think it has. Russia, the oligarchs buying up loads of properties, and it did affect the house prices, I'm told.
I mean, not in my price bracket, Sajeela. Anything the oligarchs are buying is nothing near where I'm going.
Well, have you got a property? Have you bought a place?
Quick, let's get Kirsty and make it. If we were a property podcast, just imagine the numbers.
It used to be
not
that
a semi 3-bed in Hampshire, that's for sure.
Well, then obviously Stella's didn't. Did you give up the lattes? What is Kirsty's advice?
Netflix.
And Netflix
lattes.
And you can buy a house.
Yeah,
And that's what Stella did.
Have a day job you hate for long enough and scrape together enough money to get it's more of a broken property ladder, and I'd say we've probably got some bomb damage.
From the Second World War? It's a bargain. It's a bargain. All right.
It used to be that to get your house price increased, you have to have an attic or something, an extension. But now with the Ukraine conflict, all you need is an extra bunker, and it will skyrocket.
Of course, this is all lovely on the very day that Putin puts his sort of nuclear wing on standby, as it were. But I think that's. I'd
like to know who this lady is, though, in the photo. Smiling so sweetly.
Presumably, it's whoever's writes that section, but it's a screenshot, isn't it? So it's I don't know. We don't know who it is. Anyway, Let's move on. Let's move on
to our fruit machine.
Bears. Hang on. Oh, mattresses. Like this one very much. Stella, this is one of yours, I believe.
Yeah, this is one of mine. So, Mademoiselle says, my bank blocked my card because of a security threat. It was me buying a mattress at 2 a.m. I am my own biggest threat. I just think that's lovely. I love the image of somebody just having such a miserable night's sleep. Oh God, here we go. 2 a.m. I'm buying a mattress now, and then the bank just saying no. No, rejected.
Nope.
I just thought it was cute.
Do you think they were like maybe thinking, do you really want to do this? Can you really afford it? Was it like that bank was being a bit judgy?
Maybe it's just not a common time to be going online and buying a mattress. But if somebody rinsed your card, I don't know. Do you think they'd be going for a mattress? Would that be the first purchase they go for?
No.
See, I think this is a bit harsh because you say it's. I think this is like totally the right time that you'd be buying a mattress because you'd be like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I wonder what it is.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So there you are trying to buy it, and they're like, nah. Who in the middle of the night would be trying to buy a mattress? Probably someone who's struggling to get to sleep.
So if someone's fleecing you at 2 o'clock in the morning, what would they be buying?
So one time the bank did call me to ask about a transaction, and it was a top-up card for like a mobile phone, like an O2 top-up card, and they said, oh, this is a frequent thing that people do when they're just trying card details out and stuff. That's all I got.
A top up at 2 in the morning. Probably just wanted to phone his mum and say, "Can you pick me up, please?"
Could be. Yeah.
You got to
could be
wonder what else she bought as well with her card. Like, did she buy something which is completely different to mattresses? So I don't know.
Well, I do think they are a once in a 10 to 15 year purchase.
Ideally,
So,
ideally,
You're
yeah.
not buying them every day, are you? Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
I mean, one of the top-up cards, like finding someone to get a man with a van to get the mattress, around. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
For your burner phone.
It is weird though, because you get into those, so sometimes those moves where you see things need replacing, and you never sort of think, oh, I'll Amazon that, I'll Amazon that, I'll Amazon that, and that's just like maybe just someone, as I say, woken up from a bad sleep thinking it's got to be the mattress, and then just gone completely from the mattress. Like just move a few pillows around. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's a decent practical purchase. I'm trying to think who it was who got drunk one night and bought a bouncy castle. There are some purchases that you think, yeah, that's probably, you might regret that, but a mattress, I think that's fairly.
But I also think it's weird that people do order big purchases without trying them. I mean, I still am old-fashioned. I want to go and try a mattress.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my fridge is broken, so I need a fridge freezer. And like my brother's goes, just order one from online. Why can't you just order one? And I'm like, I want to go and see them. I want to see it in real life.
So what, are you going to take some shopping with you and go into the
Yeah,
shop,
see if it
stick
all
some
fit.
frozen peas in? I'll be back in an hour. Let me just see.
Yeah, but I just
Maybe
need to see. If you're buying a big thing, I can't understand how people just buy things on the internet without looking. I
No,
want to
Maybe
at
the
least
shop
check
was
out in
open
there.
at 2 a.m. So
Yeah, but well, like you have all night. It says Tesco's is open all night, so you could go and check out a few. I just need to look at what things, and then I'll order it from home. But I don't. I've not quite got on board with the ordering big purchases like that.
It's a bit.
Says she buying loads of stuff from QVC though, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
But it's a bit like. I mean, it's not quite like gambling, but if you can't buy a lottery ticket, for example, after a certain time on the app. So, like Amazon, if they really want, well, they don't want to do this, but if somebody wanted to cap someone's spending, there'd be like some kind of, there's probably some kind of app that you can have on your phone that will stop you purchasing things after a set time. It's like we wouldn't email, so there's like an etiquette about work emails to some extent. Like you wouldn't email someone ideally after a certain time, and this is a sort of, this straddles two things, doesn't it?
That is interesting, Julian, because the thing is, if I've had a bad gig, I come back and I put QVC on for company, and whatever's going on, I'll buy it. Gardening equipment, and I've got so much crap. In fact, I've got a little big parcel. I haven't even opened it. It's an exercise bike, and that's that. I've got a room full of parcels that haven't been opened. There's one in my bag here, just next to me, and this is an illness.
Does your local DPD delivery person knock on the door and go, had a bad gig?
Bad gig. But seriously, it's like if I'm feeling a bit sad, it just makes me feel. Because at QVC you can return it within so many days.
Oh, okay. So you have a good gig and then you send it back.
Yeah, send it back, and then it's 30 days to return it. But this one's not even been opened. It's been here for like about a month. I haven't even opened my exercise bike yet. But I'm thinking about exercising in my head. But this
you might open it up, and it might be a mattress. So
yeah, it might be a mattress. But so some certain big items, but yes, but a mattress, I would like to go and try it, because that's going to be a lot of lying on. Cooker, fridge, freezer, washing machine, those things, you need to look at them surely in real life.
Absolutely, and lie on them like the mattress.
But aren't most of the mattress things on like sort of 100-day trials and stuff?
Oh, are they?
Quite often.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't
try it for 100 days, and if you don't like it, send it
I don't
back.
know how the sanitary, whether there's some kind of
Yeah.
you must have to leave it in a cover or something.
I think the difficulty is getting it back in the post box.
But
The real
where do the
struggle.
mattresses, when you're returning the mattresses, this is another reason I don't want to buy it online, because those mattresses that have been returned, how do I know that they're not the sweaty ones that are coming to me?
So Martin, as ever, has been doing a lot of homework in the background. Super fan of the show, Martin. Sunday Times house price woman is deputy property editor Carol Lewis. But crucially, there are indeed apps that time limit purchases, e.g. Antisocial.
Wow.
Of course there are. Well done.
Thank you,
There we
Martin.
go.
Good to know.
Martin's the guru here. He lets us know all this information.
I reckon, Sajeela, if you had a rough gig in Liverpool, you'd be uninstalling that app. You'd be taking it off in no time.
Oh god, it makes you feel a bit better when you've just ordered something nice for yourself.
There's
Yeah.
quite a few super tasty tweets left. Oh, right. So hang on. Offence in comedy. Well, we've never talked about that before. Oh, God. I don't know if I can bear it. But it's tonight, isn't it? Is it Karen's programme tonight? Or was this from another?
It's already been on iPlayer.
Oh, has it?
I'm not sure if they were showing it again.
Well, come on. You've chosen it. So it's BBC Scotland Communications. Just funny woman Karen Dunbar considers how a comedian navigates taste and offence in the current cancel culture climate in this one-off programme as she prepares for her first live comedy show in 15 years. Wow, okay. Cancel Karen Dunbar was 10 o'clock. Well, it's on iPlayer now. So, John, have you listened to it? And obviously just...
I've seen it, and
seen it, obviously.
Basically, which I agree with to a certain extent. They wouldn't have shows like hers or Little Britain now. They would do, but they'll have to edit bits out because obviously in Little Britain someone blacked up and stuff like that, and some of the language. But you know, that's what happens as time moves on. Obviously things change. So I don't. And when she was on the program, she didn't mind that if some of her stuff got tweaked a little bit, just so it's not as offensive for today's generation. So I don't think there's a problem here really. But the most offensive thing I found, and I shouldn't say this, is that she hasn't done comedy for 15 years. Yeah, she got someone else to write her own material. So I think you got to write your own material. That's what I feel. But
She hasn't done a show for 15 years, and she gets a TV show.
yeah,
But it's about...
yeah.
That'd be funny, but that seems unfair to me. It's like, no, love, you ain't been around for 15 years. But what have you been doing? The rest of us are still being.
Well, I think she's been around, but not
Serious
doing stand-up. Yes, she's done other stuff. Like, because she was, what was the TV show that she was in? Because I think the why they got her to do it was that she'd had a few sketches from the show that she was in deleted. As John was just saying that, and she was happy chewing the fat. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And they'd taken some of the sketches out of that, and she was happy with that because she just thought that they hadn't, particularly aged well, and that definitely happens, Whereas there is a knee-jerk reaction to that, which is like, oh, just leave everything in its original form, and I don't know.
This is the thing. That's what I was saying before about why I don't tweet. That is a time capsule that in 10, 15 years, I get it. No, I get it. I haven't seen Karen before, so
no, me neither. So it's really difficult to kind of like judge what may or may not have gone in there. But it's interesting you said that, because I saw Breakfast at Tiffany's for the first time in years, and like they've got rid of, they cut out the guy Rooney. Is it Rooney who plays
Mickey Rooney?
Mickey Rooney, who plays the Chinese.
Not Wayne. Go on. I
work out in Derby County.
Yeah, so they cut that out, and I was like, really? But then didn't you? Because I really don't think I knew what Breakfast in Tiffany's was about. And they talk about 14-year-old marriages with this really old codger, and I was like, that was okay? You left that in? That's
in
kind
some
of
parts
like,
of the world,
Sajeela.
Yeah.
And we kind of see why she was messed up then, and this is actually a lot more sinister than what I've always loved Breakfast. I've always loved Audrey Hepburn, and I think it still stands its stead of time because of her, because she's so iconic in that. But actually, there's so many things wrong with it. But you got rid of Mickey Rooney's thing, which.
But wasn't he playing a Chinese character? Wasn't it?
Yeah, he was,
right.
He
Okay.
was. But it's like at that time, that is what It's like me watching someone doing. Like what was it? The Dad's Army? Is it not Dad's Army? What was that?
Ain't I Hot Mum? Gosh,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And there was the guy who was, made to look Asian. I don't know, Don. Would you want to cancel him now? Because that is what that happened, and I don't want people to forget that it was that bad that people did this. So let's never ever do this again. I don't want it to be cut out.
People can learn from it. I mean, you got the whole film Gandhi, where Ben Kingsley played the Indian guy. So.
To this day, I thought he was Asian. I honestly thought he was Asian.
I thought he was.
But I thought he done. I thought he did have.
Yeah.
I thought he was Jewish or.
Oh, we're gonna have to Google this.
I'd say about It Ain't Half Hot Mum is they could turn it into It Ain't Half MILF these days, couldn't they? Maybe. I don't know. I'd watch it. No, anyway.
That's nice, Julian.
And he's got a Gujarati father.
Oh,
he has got a Gujarati father.
Oh,
Okay, there you go.
my
So he
mistake.
can
My
play.
mistake.
Yeah, he
According
can
to
play
my
Gandhi.
red hot Wikipedia research.
Oh right,
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
Let's
Recently
have.
edited by.
Oh, Alexa. You said I hummed for too long, so Alexa think I just she thinks I've just said her name. I haven't. Shush. Right, we've got two.
You're trying to cancel Alexa now.
Yeah, totally. How are we doing? We've got two. I didn't realise we had a few more Ukraine tweets actually. So.
Oh yeah, I've got one in there somewhere in the mix as well.
Yeah, totally. So we've got Stella, you've chosen Toby Earl's tweet here. So let's if you just read this one out, and we'll say what's going on here.
Okay. Fascinated by the energy of a conversation between President Vladimir Zelensky, sorry if I'm pronouncing it bad, who is in Kiev and facing down Putin, with Boris Johnson, who hid in a fridge from Good Morning Britain. I just love that.
No, that's fair. I think it's. I mean, it's he's certainly the Zelensky's sort of social media sort of presence at the moment, and what he's doing is amazing. And I thought like more people. I mean, obviously he's a comedian, and
he's a comedian.
He was
an actor, yeah.
And I think at the time that was seen, when he actually became president, it was seen as quite a strange thing. But I think
we have a comedian as prime minister, so what's the difference?
Yeah, well, this is true, except this is a sort of unintentional. Well, I suppose they both intentional in a way, but it is an interesting one. And Don, while we're still on Ukraine, you did have another one, which was. Oh, where has it gone? Actually, no. Wait a minute. This is another one. Is this another one of yours, isn't it, Stella?
Yeah.
Actually,
it's me again.
Yeah, from Ash Sarkar, who's obviously at IO Caesar. Yeah, if you want to read this one out, and we'll cover this aspect of it all.
Okay, Roman Abramovich, described as having a father and son relationship with Vladimir Putin, has amassed a British property empire worth £200 million. Not a penny of that is being touched by Boris Johnson's announced sanctions.
So the stop press to that was last night, I believe. There was a statement from Chelsea Football Club that he essentially owns to say that that Abramovich would step aside from duties on the board, but no one's really quite clear what this actually means. And of course, Twitter being Twitter has elicited a few interesting responses, which hopefully I'm going to find in.
I think it means they're not going in the transfer market and buying anyone anytime soon. Well, we're still trying to figure out what stewardship means.
Well, yeah, totally. I mean, there's let's have a look. There's a couple of takes on it here. Where are we? Well, there's one here from Paul Watson. This Paul Watson is ex. He wrote up Pompeii. Oh yes, he's written about various football teams. Like he runs a football team in Mongolia or something. It's an interesting character. Some people are confused about Abramovich's Chelsea statement. The best way to think of it is that time Mr. Burns says that the legal owner of the power plant is Canary M, so Burns can't be prosecuted. So it's just this sort of sleight of hand manoeuvre is what we think it is.
To make it look less Russian-y.
Yeah, I guess. And then there was another tweet, which I don't know if I've got here, which was basically is saying that it's a bit like your car. It's like a car MOT. But since I haven't had it, I'm not going to go into the tortuous analogy of it. What I will do, because I've just spotted it, it was very early on in the crisis. Mark Nelson, very brave. I find Mark quite brave. I'm not saying I support Putin, but invasion does help our chances of qualifying for the World Cup. Talking about Scotland there, of course. And that was straight off the bat. Yes, Sajeela, you actually have got a couple of tweets here which are dealing with the.
I just want to go back to
crisis.
Abramovich. You know how rich this guy is? Like, he's had 3 divorces, and one of his divorces alone, his ex-wife, went off with 300 million in the settlement. Just one divorce. That is how much money. I mean, that's
a large bag, isn't it?
That is a large bag.
That'll get you a couple of boob tubes.
3 pairs of knickers, not 3 million. Look, 3 million is just unbelievable. Like, what? And he still pays maintenance for the kids on top of that.
Can I ask a quick question, please?
Please.
Does anyone know if Abramovich is still single? Just asking.
Asking for a friend. Yeah.
In the message, there's described as having a father and son relationship. I'm curious about that dynamic.
Yeah,
who plays the father? Who plays the son? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like, is he disappointed in him? You know,
Yeah.
does he never call him? You know,
Who sits on whose knee?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I suppose Putin is the shorter one, so he'd probably have to play the child, wouldn't he? Oh God, this is going down a really weird.
Yeah, it's an absent father role. I mean, yeah.
Is he the kind of dad that rings up and goes, "Son, I need a bit of money. Can you chuck me a couple of quid? I'm running out of guns."
Running out of guns, yeah. So I picked this. I didn't know this was an issue. So this is from Dr. Shola, and Mos Shogami, and she'll probably kill me for mispronouncing that. From fellow comrade from the Women's March. She says, refuge is humanity, evil to deny refuge to Africans in Ukraine, evil to delay refugee Africans in Ukraine war, evil to discriminate against foreign nationals in Ukraine who need a refuge because they're not white, blonde or blue eyes. Refuge must be given to all. Yes, I stand with Ukraine. So I had to kind of look a bit deeper, and I didn't realize this was an issue, that there's a lot of Africans and Asian people as well who were not being let into Poland.
I thought it was Hungary.
Is it Poland?
Oh, maybe it's Poland, but I thought, yeah.
But basically, they're just saying, like, let your governments deal with this. We're only dealing with this, and they're discriminating and not letting them in. So this issue where I thought would be, and I heard someone say on a TV show recently, said, oh, you know, well, of course we have to take the Ukrainian refugees in. I mean, it's not like Afghanistan. This is something that's happening near us. And I thought, wow, so Afghanistan is a situation that was created by our foreign policies, and yet that's okay, that we can't take them because they're just not like us, that these people are like us. And actually, can I just say, in Afghanistan, the women that have had to kind of give up their careers as lawyers, doctors, teachers, et al, because of the Taliban, they just have no rights now left. We're just leaving them. We just forget about them. We remember those scenes where the people are hanging off the planes. So I didn't realize that there is a hierarchy even within this kind of situation, this horror that Ukraine is facing, that the countries bordering around are discriminating against people of color. So that is why I picked that particular tweet. But then I have to do the research to look at why she tweeted this.
And you're right, it's Poland, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes, it's a very sad state of affairs that even in horror, we're you know.
Well, there's still an issue. Well, there was a firm, solicitors firm in London last night tweeted that there was an issue with Ukrainians trying to sort of seek refuge in the UK, which I think obviously the Home Office has got to do a bit of urgent work on, and I may already be behind on that story as it is, because they will be forced to. You know, this government does. Actually, I know it's hard to believe, but even John McDonnell has said this, that this government does actually make concessions because they are found to be wanting and on the run so often that I think they've actually got used to having to give some ground. So hopefully that will be something that they sort out. I think we might just about, let's just see what we haven't covered yet, and then we can sort of, let's have a look.
Do speak up if you've seen a tweet that we haven't covered.
I think, yeah.
Well, actually, there's Chris. Yeah, actually, I think the last one that we need to cover takes us all the way back to royal family. It's comedian Chris Cahill tweeting, "Worth remembering, the royal family bring in a lot of tourists, much like Jeffrey Epstein." Gosh, this seems like the old days, really, doesn't it? Talk about.
Only last week or so.
Although it does say the 15th, this is the day after Valentine's Day, inappropriately for this, but it technically qualifies as an old tweet, but I think we'll allow it. I mean,
it just sort of wade into that area of who's quite relieved the news has shifted focus so heavily. Sort of like Prince Andrew and Boris are probably just like taking a breath at this moment now that they're not dominating the headlines, much like anyone connected with the Epstein story.
Yeah, I think Prince Andrew's just relieved about World War III.
Well, he certainly put it off long enough. So I tell you something, they've managed to triangulate that between everyone. It's quite the sort of admin skills, isn't it? It's a bit like the Tinder.
Is he going to go over and fight and try and win his medals back? Is he signed up?
I mean, that's the kind of thing that would, that's, well, yeah.
You You remember in The Godfather when Freddie, like, he says, like, look, don't touch Freddie until like the mother's dead. So I think Prince Andrew, he ain't gonna be around. the Queen, if the Queen goes, something's not gonna, you know, because that's her favorite son allegedly, isn't it? She's helping him pay off to Julian.
Taxpayers' money.
See,
Yeah,
when there's
I'm
siblings
kind of
involved.
disappointed she didn't go but then I can understand. I mean, it's horrible being under that spotlight that is so intense, taking on such a big thing. I can understand why she might have like kind of not gone to court, but it's a shame that she didn't, because he could have been good to expose men like him. So what have we got here?
Is this not one of your? Did you not choose this one? Who chose this one?
Oh yeah, I did choose this one. Yes, I did choose this one because it was so as many of my tweets know, I inherited. This is Sarah and Co. 3. As many of my tweets know, I inherited a house I didn't know. Sorry, Sarah. Last year, and let it to a family of Afghan refugees for a nominal sum. This morning, the dad came round. He asked if a Ukrainian family made it to the UK, have I got permission to put them up? I know what it's like. That is humanity. I said yes. And that is quite nice. That's a nice story.
Yeah, that's lovely.
It's a positive note to end on. It's got to be said. Right, so we did it. We got through all the tweets. Wow, amazing! It doesn't often happen. We should have some kind of special sort of horn or make some noise if we do. Ding! In fact, every time we do a tweet, next time we have to ring a bell. So that is it.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's the end of the show. What we'd like to do is ask our guests what they would like to plug. So where can we see you live or doing anything else for that matter that you would like to shout about?
If you want to stalk me anywhere, just type in Stella Graham into Google, because I'm on all the things.
All the things.
Twitter, you will mostly get the retweets. I'm on all the things. Instagram, Facebook. I've got stellagraham.com as the website. You can find out about all my nonsense there. I think next festival I'll be at will be the Brighton Fringe and some other bits and pieces in between that.
How was the Leicester Festival for you?
Oh, I loved it. I absolutely loved doing the Leicester Festival because
it's
it's
lovely,
close to home as well. So I have to double it up with visits to family because I'm from Coventry originally. So got to go and visit mum and my siblings and everyone. So no, it was a really good time.
Oh, that's lovely. What about you, Don?
Well, I haven't updated my gig list since the pandemic, so if you want to see me live, you have to build a time machine. So, no, I've updated my website. Go to www.donbusinesscomedy.com. The usual sources, obviously Twitter, Instagram, and I'm on TikTok as well. Give me a follow there. I'm trying to figure that out for the first time.
Wow, look at you down with the kids.
Can I just say we've seen on your Twitter, political comedians soon to have 30-minute special on Radio 4. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Has that been out yet?
No, I'm going to film it next week. Not next week. In April at Frog and Bucket Manchester, and it's me growing up with learning difficulties, coming from an Indian family, and how it shaped my politics. So just me doing 30 minutes of gags talking about that. So hopefully, look out for that.
Excited for you, Don. That's
Thank you very much.
I urge everybody to tune in. It's always lovely to see both perform live. Do catch them.
Definitely. Yeah, that's brilliant. So what else? Before we go, I've got SE1 comedy running this Thursday night near London Bridge, which Don has played before, which is fantastic.
It's a brilliant night, absolutely brilliant night. I'd recommend it.
That's what we like to hear. Didn't even have to pay Don to say that.
No, it's a great night. It's a brilliant night. And the great thing about it is the pub's nice as well, so great food as well. So.
It's a lovely space, and then we've got Sean McLaughlin, Faye Tracy, Ben Pope, and David Mills joining us this week. So it's a good old lineup. And Sajeela, we've mentioned the Cottage, but you should plug the Cottage, really.
Oh yes, the Cottage is. We just had one, which is an awesome one. It's always a great night. It's got 16th anniversary on Friday, the 25th of March. We've got a special guest, a host for the Comic Relief Special, which is Annabelle Giles, who actually was in the first live Comic Relief show that was on TV many years ago.
Oh, wow.
So
brilliant.
She's got a link to it already. And we've got Carrie Marks, who in my mind is one of the best
Carrie's
comedians
fantastic.
out there. It's just absolutely amazing. Why
Yeah,
is that man not more famous? And you know, I will be doing some controversial stuff tomorrow. I should be doing GB News tomorrow evening, Andrew Doyle's Headliners show, which is comedians from all political spectrums reviewing the news, the next day's news, and that's tomorrow at 11 o'clock and 11 o'clock every night, where you will see mostly, it has to be said, lefty commuting on the right-wing channel.
Shock horror. If only you'd been here the week that we discussed that, but never mind. It was fine. It was a safe space for all. So obviously you can follow us at LKT Zoom, and please, of course, go to YouTube where this show will be streaming and available to watch afterwards. And also there'll be clips of the show which we'll be putting out this week. And that would be fantastic. All our sort of details are scrolling above our heads as well, because we've got a little ticker that people on Zoom won't be able to see, but the people watching will. So if you've joined us tonight through YouTube or Facebook or Twitch or however you are seeing this, we thank you very much for doing that. And all that remains to say is for us to wave goodbye to our streamers. Thanks very much, guys.
Night, everybody. Night, night.
Thank you.
Cheers.